G-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. The FBI, America's #1 white supremacist militia. And we know from history, we know from the FBI's inception that they were corrupt. All you have to do is look into Hoover and what he did to black people. Look at what Hoover did to Martin Luther King. How they spied on him and tried to set him up, and we know about COINTELPRO, what they did to the Black Panthers. The FBI, they always were, I believe, America's #1 white supremacist militia. This is I'm not at the original article. This is from CDN. Late in 2020 presidential campaign, then candidate Joe Biden attacked President Trump for not condemning the Wolverine Watchman militia for allegedly plotting to kidnap Michigan's #1 COVID-19 authoritarian, Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, she's the worst. And despite the FBI being investigators of the plot, Biden continued his narrative. Biden continues his narrative, all for the purpose of a government gun grab. The last thing the cheating, lying, power-hungry Democrats want is a well-armed militia. Yeah, they don't want you to be able to defend yourself. Former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, speaking with supporters on, he's talking about this picture here, sorry. He said, quote, "You saw what the head of the FBI said a couple of days ago," Biden reminded Americans. He said the greatest terrorist threat in America is from white supremacists. Biden was referring to the FBI Director Christopher Wray warning to Congress the previous September. He said, within the domestic terrorism bucket, the category as a whole, racially motivated violent extremism is, I think, the biggest bucket within the larger group, and within the racially motivated violent extremist bucket. People subscribing to some kind of white supremacist type ideology is certainly the biggest chunk of that. And I remember doing a report on when Christopher Wray made this statement, and we talked about how much bullcrap this really is. It's not. If anything, we all know they are the ones that's actually creating this stuff. Ray never mentioned the coast-to-coast violence perpetrated against innocent citizens, policed by Black Lives Matter and left-wing Antifa militiamen. They totally ignored that. They called it peaceful, mostly peaceful. The alleged plot against Governor Whitmer, said America's ruling deep state triumvirate, Democrats, domestic intelligence agency, and the fake news media, was proof positive that right-wing militias were about to unleash their white supremacist wrath upon America. A plot that the judge overseeing the case dismissed as nothing but unsavory talk. U.S. District Judge Victoria Roberts concluded that the government failed to prove its case, and there was no proof of a real plot to overthrow the government and kill police. That's what this was right here. But as it turns out, 12 members of the plotting Wolverine Watchmen were under informant working for the FBI. That begs the question: who was these informants broached the idea of kidnapping the Governor Whitmer? And I know BuzzFeed did an article either yesterday or the day before talking about how the FBI, from the inception of the plans to kidnap Whitmer, it all came from the FBI informants. According to BuzzFeed, quote, "Some of those informants acting under the direction of the FBI played a far larger role than previously been reported. Instead, they had in nearly every aspect of the alleged kidnapping plot starting with its inception," like I alluded to. The extent of their involvement raises questions as to whether there would have even been a conspiracy without them. No, it wouldn't. None of this plot would have never happened It would have never happened if the FBI ain't put all these people together to come up with this kidnapping. It was the FBI plan from the jump. The revelation has some questioning the claims of the Capitol Hill authorities regarding January 6th uprising on Capitol Hill. And, you know, some people said that they actually opened the doors up and let them in, and there was people that broke the windows and then ran off. Some of the rioters have been reported to be members of Antifa, and we reported on that also. But who among these left-wing miscreants were FBI informants? And I said from the beginning that I believe it was definitely some FBI informants or some FBI themselves in there starting this stuff. Remember last March, FBI Director Ray said of the Capitol Hill rioters, quote, January 6th was not an isolated event. The problem of domestic terrorism has been materializing across the country for a long time now, and it's not going away anytime soon. At the FBI, we've been sounding the alarm on it for a number of years now. Yeah, and y'all the ones that's propagating this stuff. Perhaps the FBI has been sounding an alarm on violent militias because the FBI themselves are the nation's most violent militia. And I totally agree with that sentiment. When they weren't plotting to overthrow the nation's premier, the America First president, they were weaving plots to entrap disorganized morons into kidnapping a blue state authoritarian governor. The real plot was not to nab Governor Whitmer, but to reestablish the white supremacist militia narrative to shield a blue state Democrat coronavirus clampdown on civil liberties. This explains why the deep state triumvirate has worked so hard to tag conservative opposition as white supremacists, demanding the Washington's clueless, compliant, and worthless Republicans condemn the January 6th Capitol Hill rioting. And you know how I've been laying into the Republicans. These guys in there are they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to stop this left wing horrible agenda that's going on in this country. They're just sitting on their butts and letting this stuff happen. Speaking of which, when Democrat House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rejected 2 GOP representatives to sit on January 6th investigation commission, GOP House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy told reporters, "We will run our own investigation, which will be difficult with Pelosi and Democrats controlling the videos and the narrative." And that's true. I mean, they're gonna spin it the same way they spin the whole fake Russia collusion stuff. Maybe congressional hearings featuring people wrongly persecuted will reach Americans' eyes and ears. I'm very pessimistic. I'm very pessimistic. People such as former DEA agent Mark Ingram, who faced 15 years in prison for simply being on the grounds of the Capitol on January 6th because he was carrying a weapon as his job demands. I think that's it from there. But let me know what y'all think of this article. Do y'all think the FBI is America's #1 white supremacist militia, like I believe, or do y'all think it's somebody else? Let me know. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out DEMOCREPUBLIX.com for the latest in news. Until next time.